My name is Sally. I'm standing in the courtroom, watching as the prosecutor presents the evidence against my mother. The air is thick with tension, and I can feel my heart pounding in my chest. It's been a long and difficult journey to get to this point, but I'm finally here, ready to fight for my daughter and our family. It all started a few months ago, when my husband, Jack, was deployed overseas. He's a military officer, and his job takes him away from home for long periods of time. I'm a freelance graphic designer, so I work from home and take care of our 11-year-old daughter, Lily. It's not easy being a single parent, but we make it work. One day, my mother, Helen, called and offered to come stay with us for a while. She said she wanted to help me out and spend some time with Lily. I was hesitant at first, because my mother and I have a complicated relationship. She's always been critical of the way I raise Lily and manage my marriage, and she has strong opinions about everything. But I was exhausted, and I could use the help, so I agreed. My mother arrived a few days later with 3 suitcases. At first, things seemed to be going well. She cooked dinner, helped Lily with her homework, and even cleaned the house. I was grateful for her help, and I thought maybe things were finally going to get better. But then, something changed. One day, I was working in my office when I heard my mother in the garage. She was going through old boxes, she said, organizing. When I went to check on her an hour later, she was holding a photo. Her face had changed, and she looked angry. "Who is this?" she asked, holding up the photo. It was from a design conference I attended a few years ago. There were 8 of us standing in front of a banner, holding certificates. "That's from a conference," I said. "Why?" "You never mentioned him," she said, pointing at a man standing 2 people away from me. "Mom, there are 8 people in that photo." "It's a work event," I said. "You're standing very close to him," she said. "It's a group photo. We're all standing close." "What are you implying?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just took the photo to her room. After that, my mother's behavior started to change. She became more critical and judgmental, and she started making comments about Lily. She said Lily didn't look like us, and she wondered if she was really Jack's daughter. I tried to ignore her, but it was getting harder and harder. One day, my mother called a locksmith and had the locks changed. She said the locks were old and she wanted to make the house more secure. I was furious. I told her it was my house, and she had no right to change the locks without my permission. But she just smiled and said she was doing it for our safety. A few days later, Lily came home from school and her key didn't fit the lock. It was starting to rain, and she was standing outside in the cold, trying to get in. I was at a coffee shop, working on a project, and I didn't see her texts or calls. I didn't find out what was going on until later, when I got home and saw her sitting on the porch, soaking wet and shivering. I was devastated. I couldn't believe my mother would do something like this. I called the police, and they came to the house. They tried to talk to my mother, but she refused to open the door. She said it was a family matter and they had no right to be there. The police officer stayed with Lily and me until my mother finally opened the door. When she did, she looked at Lily and said, "A bastard doesn't belong under this roof. Get your filthy mistake out of my sight." Lily was in shock. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes and asked, "Mom, am I not Daddy's real daughter?" I held her in my arms and told her that she was absolutely 100% Jack's daughter, and that her grandmother was lying. But I could see the doubt in her eyes, and it broke my heart. We left the house that night and went to a hotel. I was so angry and hurt, and I didn't know what to do. I called Jack, but he was on a mission and couldn't answer. I felt so alone and helpless. The next day, I contacted a family attorney. She listened to my story and told me that my mother had committed several offenses, including child endangerment, verbal abuse, and identity fraud. She said we had a strong case, and she would help me fight for Lily and our family. Over the next few days, we gathered evidence and prepared for the legal battle ahead. We got the police report, the Ring doorbell footage, and the witness statements from our neighbors. We also had a handwriting expert analyze the signature on the locksmith work order, and it was confirmed that it was a forgery. My mother started calling me, begging me to drop the charges. She said it was all a misunderstanding, and she didn't mean to hurt Lily. But I couldn't forgive her. She had hurt my daughter, and I wasn't going to let her get away with it. A few weeks later, my mother received 3 official letters. One was from the attorney, demanding that she vacate the premises within 72 hours and return all the keys. The other 2 were from Child Protective Services and the police, notifying her of the investigation and the charges against her. My mother was furious. She started calling me and my family members, threatening us and trying to manipulate us. She said I was ruining the family, and I was being selfish and ungrateful. But I didn't let her get to me. I knew I was doing the right thing. A few days later, the sheriff came to the house and evicted my mother. She packed her bags and left, but not before she gave me one last look of hatred. The legal process has been long and difficult, but I'm determined to see it through. I want my mother to be held accountable for what she did, and I want to make sure that Lily is safe and protected. As I sit here in the courtroom, watching the prosecutor present the evidence, I feel a sense of relief. I know that the truth will come out, and justice will be served. I look over at Lily, who is sitting next to me, holding my hand. She's been through so much, but she's a strong and brave girl. I'm so proud of her. I also think about Jack, who is still overseas. I miss him so much, and I can't wait for him to come home. He's been my rock throughout this whole ordeal, and I don't know what I would do without him. After the prosecutor finishes presenting the evidence, the judge announces that the case will proceed to trial. The trial is scheduled for a few months from now, and I'm preparing myself for what's to come. I know that the road ahead will be long and difficult, but I'm ready to fight for my daughter and our family. I believe in the power of evidence, and I know that the truth will prevail. As I leave the courtroom, I take a deep breath and look up at the sky. I know that everything is going to be okay. I have my daughter, my husband, and my friends and family by my side. Together, we will overcome this challenge and build a brighter future. In the end, I learned that family isn't always about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, and who protects you when it matters most. And I'm grateful for the people in my life who have stood by me and supported me through this difficult time.